So, within the newest chapter of Jojolands, we are introduced to a new antagonist stand, dubbed John Rod by the community. It appears this stand may be the strongest in the series so far. So, just what are the factors that made me and many others make this immediate assumption, and what can we speculate about the stand's abilities based on a little evidence we have? John Rodney Rod appears to be a remote stand made of two rods, a light. These type of stands, as the name implies, can be controlled from a great distance, sometimes with the user several miles away. Although it's unknown if the stand has a mind of its own, the rods appear to fly around in a pair of two, and once they lock onto their target, they quickly descend onto the ground and take a sort of human-like form, although it's likely that the two rods can act independently of each other. The deadliest aspect of the stand is its touch. When the stand grabs onto its target, many tiny balls begin forming on its body. These balls quickly move inside the target, and after a second or two, they violently explode parts of the body until the target basically begins disintegrating. All while they're mesmerized by the rod's beauty, the rods then disassemble and fly off into the sunset. This is the perfect stand for quick and effective assassination. Its slim body allows it to squeeze through almost any location, no matter how narrow it is. It can kill its target quickly with its ability, and it can fly, allowing it to enter and exit an area very quickly. Now you may hear this and think that this doesn't sound all that impressive. I mean, we've seen plenty of stands with one-shot capability before, and this one doesn't really seem any more dangerous. Well, I could agree that I'm overhyping the stand a bit, and it very well could just be a very fun and normal stand when it's all said and done. However, we're still in the early days of the stand, and we could see it do a lot more cool things in the future, and hey, it doesn't hurt to have fun theorizing its abilities and true nature. Now, there's two obvious possibilities of what the stand could be, and it connects heavily to rocks. Now, stay with me here. Well, rocks are a fundamental aspect of human society. It's often said that fire was our most important discovery, but no, it was in fact the rock. It was with the rock that the Stone Age began, and many of our most important inventions came from it. Melting down rocks helped create tools and build our nations. This same process created the weapons that helped in human conquest. Some rocks would result in the discovery of gold and diamond, leading to the concept of human luxury. Rocks helped build our society, and as such, rocks helped create the social structures in human society as well. Politics, currency, sports, video games, food, and much more would not be possible without humans harnessing the power of the stone. This isn't just me yapping. The concept of the rock is at the core of Jojolands' entire story, and guess what? Rods are metallic objects born from rocks. So John Rod, from the beginning, has had one of the closest ties to the mechanics that make up Part 9. Now, let's get back to the two possibilities. Possibility 1. John Rod's ability is the control of electrical currents and electricity in general. This is through the use of two rods, which represent a lightning rod and ground rod. In architecture, a lightning rod usually sits at the top of a building with the purpose of capturing the electrical discharge by lightning. They then redirect that energy into the ground, which disperses the energy into the soil. John Rod sort of works in a similar way, with a few key differences. I believe the face of the stand represents the lightning rod, and this is where the electrical energy manifests. Instead of capturing it, the stand likely generates it on its own. The weird bulbs is likely the electrical energy itself. The feet of the stand represents the ground rod. The electrical energy is sent downward towards the feet, but instead of discharging into the soil, it is discharged onto whoever or whatever it's standing on, causing it to explode. So in a way, the rod is like an alternate Red Hot Chili Peppers. Now, this is the most basic interpretation of the stand's abilities, and probably the most likely right now. Not every stand in Jojolands are crazy and over the top compared to, let's say, Steel Ball Run, but they can be extremely deadly depending on the circumstances. The more outlandish possibility is that these are actual rods of light, maybe metal that absorbs and reflects light, or maybe actually made fully of light, but either way, it'd be controlling light regardless. In this scenario, that would mean that the two rods will be flying around the general area at the speed of light, and its ability will allow it to transfer deadly rays of light onto its target, which explodes them from the inside out, as photons with mass should easily be able to rip apart anything they touch. Now obviously, I don't actually think this is the stand's ability at all, and it's too OP from the jump, but for the sake of argument, let's say this is an actual stand ability that weaponizes photons to fight. How powerful would this be in the Jojo universe and other universes? Most stand users simply aren't equipped to react to something moving at the speed of light, meaning they'd be dead before they even realized they were under attack. It'd probably tear through a majority of the Jojo cast, only really struggling against the absolute top tiers with absurd hacks like time stop, time erasure, size manipulation, or automatic defensive abilities like calamity, a return to zero. In terms of threats from other universes, well, Gojo's probably where John Rodney Rod's winning streak comes to an end. Even if the rods are moving at light speed, they still have to physically reach him, and that's exactly what Infinity prevents. Kumagawa's where speed stops mattering entirely. Sure, a light speed assassination sounds impossible to survive, but Kumagawa's whole gimmick is rewriting reality with all fiction. Even if John Rod kills him instantly, he'd simply erase his own death, or remove the damage as though it never happened, and then he'd proceed to turn the rod into fiction, preventing its stand user from ever using the ability again. Accelerator's arguably an even worse matchup. His passive vector shield reflects anything harmful before it reaches him, and that includes light itself. His entire ability revolves around manipulating vectors, and photons have vectors. Freddy Fazbear honestly gets demolished. Even taking the strongest interpretation of Five Nights at Freddy's, Freddy has absolutely nothing suggesting he could perceive, react, or defend against anything attacking at the speed of light. At the end of the day, that's probably where this hypothetical version of John Rod lands. Against verses that don't have light speed reactions, automatic defense, or reality warping hacks, it would be an absolute nightmare and could probably assassinate most characters before the fight even begins. But once you start throwing it against people who can naturally react to light, manipulate reality, or have passive abilities that stop attacks without needing to think, its biggest advantage disappears. But hey, there's still a lot more we're gonna learn about the stand in the future, and the version we've seen so far is only a very tiny glimpse. Whether it's a stand of the main villain or not, I can tell there'll be a giant threat or nuisance to our cast.